One of the biggest topics of contention, and not just in the world of gaming, but in this era that we live in, is the use of AI technology, which is incredibly powerful in what it can do, but with great power comes great responsibility. When the technology is used responsibly, it can pave the road to making certain processes more efficient, improving certain things like, the way NVIDIA and AMD use DLSS and FSR to improve performance for games and lesser hardware and whatnot. They're good ways that AI has been used, but then there's the other side where there are ethical issues or there are issues concerning people feeling like their work is getting stolen or where artists are getting replaced. And that's the area where the technology has drawn a lot of controversy. And in the arts in particular, there's also the sense that while what AI can do is impressive, the overall output by itself is pretty lackluster. Like if somebody wants to make an AI-only movie or game, the quality drop is pretty substantial compared to projects that involve actual humans, because so much of art is about what human beings put into the work, that piece of themselves that makes the artwork resonate with other people. I mean, we're getting to a situation where OpenAI and Google are asking the government to let them train AI on content they don't own. And then beyond that, we've got companies like Sony and PlayStation who are experimenting with ways that they can use AI. Back in May of 2024, a PlayStation executive who is the head of PlayStation Productions and head of product at PlayStation Studios, Asad Kizilbash, expressed the following: advancements in AI will create more personalized experiences and meaningful stories for consumers, he claims. For instance, non-player characters in games can interact with players based on their actions, making it feel more personal. This is important for the younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha audiences, who are the first generations that grew up digitally and are looking for personalization across everything, as well as looking for experiences to have more meaning. So it should come as no surprise that Sony has been experimenting with AI, and one way they've been doing that was recently leaked by an anonymous user who uploaded a video that showed an AI-powered version of Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn and or Horizon Forbidden West from the Horizon series. The video also featured a developer from Sony, more specifically a director of software engineering at Sony Interactive Entertainment, who works on video game technology, AI, computer vision, and face technology. What the video showed was this individual essentially interacting with this AI version of Aloy that would respond to his conversations and his inquiries. Right here you can see a GIF that The Verge uploaded, and the reason I'm not going to show the full video is because Sony will copyright strike it. If you try to look for it across social media and on YouTube and whatnot, you'll see that all those videos have been copyright struck. So Sony's trying to get rid of the evidence, but you can't put that genie back in the bottle. But yeah, the video essentially showed Sharwin kind of showing a prototype of this AI Aloy, and she didn't have any proper voiceover. Her voice was more like text-to-speech. It sounded like, "Hello, I am Aloy. How do you do? The weather is beautiful today." Something along those lines. So it was functional, but very eerie. But ultimately, this was a demonstration video for Sharwin to show Sony executives to highlight the possibilities of this technology. It demonstrated an AI-powered version of Aloy that can hold a conversation with a player through voice prompts during gameplay. Aloy could be seen responding to queries with an AI-powered synthesized voice and facial movements, both in a demo setting and within the full Horizon Forbidden West game. There's just a prototype that has been developed alongside Guerrilla Games to demonstrate the technology internally at Sony, which is why Sony's been copyrighting any videos, because this was never meant to be seen by the public. This was just internal testing. But it's good that this video is making the round so people can have a conversation about the ethics of this kind of development. The video also detailed specifically what technology was used to make this AI Aloy possible. The demo uses OpenAI's Whisper for speech to text, and both GPT-4 and Llama 3 for conversations and decision-making. Meanwhile, the audio-to-face animation is powered by Sony's own Mockingbird technology. And this was a demonstration that was kind of cobbled together, and so as the director of software engineering put it, this is just a glimpse of what is possible. If this kind of pursuit is left unfettered, then the implications are very much unnerving. People have already been expressing how uncomfortable they are with not only the footage that they saw, which was just so creepy, but also they've been talking about the hypocrisy of using Aloy of all characters when the theme of Horizon, when a big part of the message of Horizon is in regards to what's happening right now with the way Sony's experimenting with AI. Now, you know what will make you the opposite of uncomfortable? The sponsor of today's video, Helix Sleep, a company dedicated to offering comfortable beds and mattresses that aim to improve your sleep. As many of you may know by now, I recently moved to a new place and I was actually in the market for a new mattress, something a little bigger and maybe more plush compared to my old bed. And it was coincidentally around this time that Helix Sleep reached out. So what I've got right here is a king-size Sunset Luxe model, which is one of their softer mattresses. And so far, in the weeks that I've had it, it's been heavenly to sleep on. They've also got different mattresses for different preferences. So if you prefer a softer or firmer mattress or something in between, there's just something here for everyone. But for my part, I'm someone who enjoys softer beds, and this mattress right here feels like a giant poofy cloud. It's been awesome. I've been slumbering like a baby on it, and it's genuinely helped my quality of life and my sleep schedule as a whole. I tend to get insomnia if sleeping conditions aren't quite right, and in my experience, this mattress has helped me sleep more deeply through the night and wake up more rested in the mornings. It's just really cozy and comfortable, and given how important sleep is, investing in a good mattress is pretty paramount. I also decided to purchase an adjustable bed frame from them that allows me to adjust head and legs position for different comfort settings for different situations. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new mattress or thinking of upgrading from your current one, I highly recommend giving Helix Sleep a consideration. It might be exactly what you're looking for. And if you use my link, helixsleep.com/yongyeah, or scan my QR code shown in the video, you can get 25% off site-wide, which is a really nice discount that makes this an ideal time to make a purchase. Anyway, back to what people have been saying about Sony's leaked AI Aloy video demonstration. People already highlighting the irony behind using Aloy as a character, as a sample character for AI technology development, for AI-powered characters, when the whole premise of the Horizon series is about machines that take over, about AI taking over, and the whole moral of that story is, hey, don't let AI take over humans, don't replace humans with AI. And so you've got people like this individual on Twitter highlighting that the irony is just, freaking baffling here. The main character from the hit game, Don't Replace Humans with AI, is now replacing the cast with AI. I love it here. Tweets like these have been garnering millions of views and hundreds of thousands of likes. People on Reddit are highlighting the irony and the hypocrisy of using Aloy as a character for a venture like this. Here's a thread that discusses all of this, and people noting that the entire game is warning against this kind of nonsense. The irony of this hits so hard, and it's not only about AI being bad, because, again, if a technology is used responsibly and for good, then it can pave the road to a lot of new advancements. But it's more about how technology, powerful technology especially, is being misused. I think this user is onto something, specifically misused for military purposes or misused in ways that benefit corporations and that benefit greed rather than the advancement and betterment of our quality of life and whatnot. And the original video that was uploaded before it was copyright struck by Sony, comments read along the lines of how this is all cursed, or please work on literally anything else, Sony. People saying, I hate this so much, it's just creepy. Hopefully we never see this used, especially if it's at the cost of talented voice actors and actresses. This is so creepy, so disrespectful to the voice actor. I don't know why they're hell-bent on this weird shit, so on and so forth. You've got developers who have been speaking out, like Alana Pierce, who previously worked on Sony Santa Monica, the developers behind God of War and God of War Ragnarok, stating that she was led to feel very confident that Sony wouldn't do anything like this, LOL. Regrettably, you just cannot trust the words of corporations. We got Anna McGill here, a writer on the follow-up to Cyberpunk 2077 at CD Projekt Red. So she's working on the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel. She spoke out saying, finally saw the Aloy NPC and I have so many issues with it, I don't know where to start. I'd rather speak to the heap of twisted limbs that Miyazaki called an insult to life itself. But perhaps the most prominent individual to speak out about all of this is none other than the actor who performance captured and voiced Aloy in the Horizon series, Ashley Burch, who understandably is probably among the most uncomfortable about this whole situation. Right here we have a transcript posted by news outlet The Verge that'll make this just easier to cover. So I'll go ahead and read what she specifically said about the situation. She said, "Hi, let's talk about AI Aloy. I saw the tech demo earlier this week. Gorilla reached out to me to let me know that the demo didn't reflect anything that was actively in development. They didn't use any of my performance for the demo, so none of my facial or voice data was used, and Gorilla owns Aloy as a character." I don't believe them when they say that stuff like this isn't actively in development. And it may not even necessarily be Gorilla's choice. Ultimately, Sony is the head honcho of this entire organization, and if Sony wants Gorilla to see something like this done, they have no choice. I do believe that this is a big pursuit for Sony and many corporations as a whole, especially in the digital sector, in the entertainment sector, in the gaming sector, which is the most interactive medium there is. Aloy's actor was told, or Ashley Burch was told, don't worry about it. This was just an experiment that didn't pan out. You don't have to freak out about this. But the fact that the prototype demonstration was even made, the fact that the experiment was even done at all is unnerving within itself and really highlights the intent of the company and their pursuits. Ashley continued, "So all that said, I feel worried, and not worried about Gorilla specifically or Horizon or my performance or my career specifically even. I feel worried about this art form, game performance as an art form. We're currently on strike. SAG-AFTRA is on strike against video games because of AI, because this technology exists, because we know that game companies want to use it. We're asking for protections." The timing of this AI Aloy video demonstration leaking couldn't be more perfect. Keep in mind that the pursuit here isn't to ban AI outright. It's to implement proper regulations so that such a powerful tool isn't exploited to the degree that it currently can. It's about making sure certain lines and boundaries are drawn so that the technology is used responsibly. Because currently there are no policies, no regulations, no protections to prevent sort of the unethical usage of AI versions, especially when it comes to voice actors and their voices and all the stuff that's already being done when it comes to replicating voice actors' voices and having them say things that they didn't say, and kind of, it feels like a violation for just not only voice actors, but for people in general to have their voice stolen and have them say things that they never said. And then for voice actors specifically, we're looking at a situation where not only are you taking work away from them, you're doing so in favor of a diminished version of their performance, because ultimately AI, it doesn't know how to adapt and give life to something in the way humans can. They don't have that intuitiveness that allows for dynamic and spontaneous moments to come between actors that make those performances and those scenes and moments special. For those who've seen the behind the scenes of how The Last of Us got made, and when they get to the performance capture segment, how much Ashley Johnson contributed to shaping Ellie into who she is. They had one idea for how the character should be, and then Ashley Johnson came and was like, I feel like in this moment I would hit the guy, or I feel like I'd push Joel in this moment, and that led to a lot of unscripted moments or changes to the character that actually made it better. AI can't do that. Actors, through their human experiences, can imbue that into the characters, and if you replace actors with AI, you don't get moments like those. You don't get characters that evolve like that. You don't get those spontaneous moments that make those scenes iconic.
I was a little frustrated because I was like, well, if this were real life, I would do something.
We did a couple takes, and at some point she walked up to me and she said, I feel like I'd hit him.
So we added in a part, right there off the bat, she's not just this damsel in distress. Right there, she wanted to fight back from her very first day of shooting.
We didn't have it right initially. She needs to be more capable than initially we thought she would be, and actually that made us go back and rethink combat and rethink a lot of the areas in the game, and now she was going to take a much more active part.
There are these little improv moments and little nuances that you get that probably isn't scripted, that just comes out of play, while they're performing. That mistake that is just blossomed into a really good idea.
Did we improv on The Last of Us? Yes. Yes, we did.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
It gives you the most authentic, most realistic performance, because you're actually there, not just making your own choices, but making your own choices based on the other people that are involved in that scene. So you get this truly natural approach to things, and it shows up.
I also think about moments like in The Dark Knight when the Joker's blowing up the hospital, but the explosions aren't going off, and so he's like messing with the button until it all finally starts going off again. For those who don't know, that whole bit was improvised because the explosions were not going off, and that was an error, that was an accident, but Heath Ledger kind of improvised elements that made that whole situation work. It actually made it better than the director's original intent. That is a very human thing. That's something the AI cannot conceive. All those like imperfections that make us humans, that's what paves a road to accidents like that actually elevate things to better than what we originally had envisioned. That's the human element that allows for those iconic moments to happen, that make those things iconic. AI cannot do that. And it's even grosser to consider corporations who would use voices without permission to train their own AI algorithms that will allow them to use somebody else's voice however they please for their own greedy purposes, for profit, for projects that require them to spend less money and to invest less in talent and in artists, so they can like automate art more and kind of make that a money milking machine. That kind of intent, that's what we're trying to regulate. We're all about the ethical usage of AI. We're all about AI being used in ways that genuinely better our lives and that, you know, are used in morally correct ways, but that's just not what's happening industry-wide. And Sony highlighted that when this video got leaked. It made a lot of people, especially voice actors, uncomfortable, especially Ashley Burch, who is now seeing the potential of what her future could look like if this kind of stuff is left unfettered, which is why she continues by saying, so currently what we're fighting for is that you have to get our consent before you make an AI version of us in any form. You have to compensate us fairly, and you have to tell us how you're using this AI double. And I feel worried not because the technology exists, not even because game companies want to use it, because of course they do. They always want to use technological advancements. And again, as tools, AI can be great, but it's when the tools are replacing humans, when the tools are becoming the artists and not the humans from which art becomes soulful, that's when this becomes an issue, and that's when art itself begins to degrade. She continues, I just imagine a video like this coming out that does have someone's performance attached to it, and you know damn well that that is not only a possibility, likely exists out there somewhere, that does have someone's voice or face or movement, and the possibility that if we lose this fight, that person would have no recourse. They wouldn't have any protections, any way to fight back, and that possibility, it makes me so sad. It hurts my heart. It scares me. That's where the battle really lies, is ensuring that we have some semblance of autonomy and say over all of this, instead of the corporations having full control over how they exploit AI technology and the information that we provide them, whether it's visual, whether it's auditory, whether it's written text, you name it. Ashley concludes with, I love this industry and this art form so much, and I want there to be a new generation of actors. I want there to be so many incredible game performances. I want to be able to continue to do this job, and if we don't win, then the future is really compromised. That future is really compromised. Ashley Burch also emphasized that she's not trying to call out any one company. She just wants to kind of fight for a future where the technology can be used in a way that gives actors certain protections, saying, I'm genuinely not trying to put any game company specifically on blast, certainly not Guerrilla. The technology isn't the problem. Game companies wanting to use the technology is not the problem. The problem is we're currently on strike, and the bargaining group will not agree to give us common sense protections. For those who don't know, the video game strike for SAG has been going on for about 8 months as of the recording of this video. Given the lengths to which companies are willing to go to power their AI endeavors, to power their AI projects that seek to ultimately make projects cheaper at the expense of humans, at the expense of artistry. Again, to make sure everything's as automated and factory churnable as possible so they can maximize profits and minimize expenditures, and all of that coming to the detriment of the art form itself. It's no wonder that strikes like these have dragged on for so long. It makes sense that conversations like these keep cropping up. And Sony's AI video leaking is kind of like a blessing in disguise, because as unnerving as it is to watch that video and how uncanny valley and creepy it all is, it highlights why AI can't fully replace human talent, and it comes at just the perfect moment when these discussions are flaring up, and it allows people to see just what kinds of endeavors these companies are pursuing, and it allows people to have a conversation about questioning the ethics behind how these kinds of things are currently being implemented without the people involved, especially like actors, kind of being aware of these kinds of experiments behind the scenes. And it raises awareness to just the level of kind of lack of restrictions and lack of boundaries and lines that need to be drawn, lest companies continue to pursue endeavors in a way that just makes it easy for exploitation. And while you can talk about some of the cooler and more ethical uses of AI, there are some uses that definitely seem to seek to ultimately replace human artists in favor of automated art. And so, we got articles like this discussing how NVIDIA is using AI to turn game characters into chatbots. Tech demos at GDC show how generative AI is being used to voice, animate, and write narratives for video game characters. Next up, you got Microsoft, who have talked about Xbox's AI era and how it starts with a model that can generate gameplay. EA itself, back in September of 2024, has talked about how AI is the very core of their business, and he has not been shy in expressing how much he wants to pursue AI technology and have it affect every aspect of their game development and game design. You've got Capcom, who've come out and said that they're experimenting with generative AI to create hundreds of thousands of unique ideas needed to build in-game environments. This is a measure that, according to them, is ultimately to reduce costs and speed up development. And we've already seen companies try to attempt certain projects only using AI, and it's never really panned out in a way that convinces anyone that this is the future. So back in January of 2024, Kotaku reported how AI video game characters seem as soulless as you'd expect, discussing this particular technology, a partnership between these two companies, Convey and NVIDIA. And they highlighted this video that shows two AIs are kind of like talking to each other, and all of it just feels very unnatural and very uncanny. We can actually watch the video itself and see just how unnatural these conversations sound.
Just too real to be anything but flesh and blood. You're not wrong, Jin. Sometimes I wonder if we're all just part of some elaborate cybernetic dream. If we were AIs, I'd be the one cracking jokes about the singularity over a bowl of ramen. Things are fantastic. Just secured a juicy contract with Zenith and Sons.
Yes, these words are kind of being procedurally generated and whatnot, but you can see that there's just something about the way they speak, the way these words are combined, and the way these words are performed. All of it sounds incredibly robotic, and it just lacks any semblance of humanity. And the whole point of these characters in video games is to make them seem on some level like real people, so you have some kind of emotional and human attachment to them. Here's another example from Convey. This is like a cyberpunk project called Project Neural Nexus. Now, one of the elements of this that I already noticed is how much of it copies Cyberpunk 2077. This is generative AI that clearly took a lot of, shall we say, inspiration from that. Just from the outfit to the font used across its subtitles and the way it's formatted, all of it is very reminiscent of Cyberpunk 2077, except you've got very soulless and very robotic feeling writing and performances and you name it.
Attacked and rendered unconscious in the hotel room. I'm here to guide you to safety and get you out of here. Follow me to the hotel lobby.
Tell me what the gangs are working on.
That's privileged information, and you ain't on the list of people I share that with. So how about you mind your own business?
Hey.
Ugh. So your brain just immediately knows there are all these red flags to the way these characters speak, the way they sound, the way they look even. All of it is just very off-putting. You've even got posts like this one from Medium that has an attempt at somebody making a video game just using ChatGPT. And this whole blog post essentially highlights the trials and tribulations of that and why ultimately seeing the lesser quality of the overall output, why humans being involved in a video game's development process is so important and so vital. And one last article I want to highlight that talks about how AI-only video game projects have failed is this one right here from back in March of 2024, where company Keywords tried to make a game entirely with AI, and it failed because ultimately the tech was unable to replace talent, is the ultimate conclusion that they came up with. Here's specifically what Keywords had to say about the final results of this, stating, quote, The AI tool identified over 400 tools, evaluating and utilizing those with the best potential, but it ultimately utilized bench resource from 7 different game development studios as part of the project, as the tooling was unable to replace talent. What AI can do is crazy, what AI can do is impressive, but it is just simply not at a level where it in any way, shape, or form can resemble human artistry, human experiences, human ingenuity. All of those things are still a far cry for the current AI technology. And I mean, this conversation isn't even just about voice actors, it's about developers as well. Back in 2024, we saw over 14,000 layoffs, and this is just a rough estimate. It's 2025, and we're already seeing thousands of layoffs happening this year with no signs of that slowing down. And so seeing kind of the rise of AI and the way companies are very clearly trying to replace human talent with AI that can very quickly kind of factory manufacture writing and game design and voices and performances and, you name it, visuals, all these things. There is this general concern of not only the degradation of human talent, but also the degradation of the actual products that consumers like us will be experiencing, because human talent that kind of knows how to nuance and how to finesse those things that make games special, how all of that will get lost because of machines that just automate things in a way that doesn't ultimately understand what it is to have a fun experience, an emotionally resonating experience, because AI is just not there. It's just not human. Without any sort of human input, without enough of human artistry to make art, what is the point of art? At that point, is it even art anymore, And make no mistake, corporations will happily degrade art for the sake of profit. We've already seen it happen with the kinds of monetization systems that are implemented in video games that very clearly degrade a game's design, but are implemented anyway at the expense of customers, because it ultimately allows them to look good in the eyes of investors. And so make no mistake, they will do the same with AI, and they will exploit this technology if this stuff is left completely unrestricted as it currently is. If voices don't express their concerns and don't raise these concerns to hopefully legislators who can do something about this. And the hope is that unions like SAG-AFTRA can work out deals, contracts that will ensure that stuff like this isn't exploited, as is currently being attempted by Sony with this Aloy AI experiment that has brought a lot of attention to this topic, for better or for worse. And so yeah, given how relevant this all is, given how AI as a topic and as a technology is continuing to develop, and we're seeing the onset of it kind of happen, I just thought this was a very important topic to discuss on this channel, especially given how much all of this is tying into the games industry and the gaming realm. And so I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on all of these developments, what you think about Sony's leaked AI Aloy video, what you think about Ashley Burch's response, and what you think about just the general concerns surrounding AI, and what your stance is on the current state of AI, and what you think needs to be done to ensure we find a good balance where this technology is used responsibly. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.